Hey guys, Josh from SoccerReviewsForYou.com, bringing you an unboxing plus on-feet video of the brand new Warrior Superheat in the blue and yellow colorway. Now, as far as extras that they include inside the box, you do get a string bag. This particular string bag is navy blue in color, yellow strings on the bag, a white Warrior logo on the front, and the white Superheat branding there on the back. So we'll get that out of the way, get the shoes out of the box really quickly. And if you guys could take a quick second to leave a like on the video, it would be greatly appreciated. So here is a look at the brand new Warrior Superheat. This is Warrior's third ever soccer shoe release, and it's their first ever entry into the speed boot or lightweight soccer cleat market as they continue to establish themselves in the soccer world as a true soccer brand. Which, again, I think they're fairly unproven at this point, but I like that Warrior is trying. They're continuing to put out new product, and all of the products that they're putting out are very, very unique. They're not trying to copy anybody. So the first thing I want to talk about with the brand new Superheat is, of course, the aesthetics and just visual appeal of the shoe, because I know that Warrior has had a lot of criticism for the overall looks on their shoes with both the Screamer and Gambler releases, but I have to say that the Superheat is definitely more appealing than those shoes, at least in my opinion. Leave your comments down below. Let me know what you think of the overall aesthetics of this shoe. I like the blue and yellow color. There's also a red and yellow colorway variations. The graphics are fairly simple. There's minimal branding on the shoe. I think the Warrior logo at the heel looks really, really good. You're also going to find a Warrior logo on the tongue, as well as the Superheat branding here on the instep. You have this very cool pattern that's fairly unique going across the forefoot and midfoot, as well as on the sole plate of the shoe. As you can see, it also says Warrior Screamer in Warrior Superheat, in this little cutout. And of course, the stud pattern is very, very unique to begin with. So overall, I think it's not a bad looking shoe. Definitely one of the better looking models released from Warrior thus far. Now, in terms of technical specifications and the performance elements of the Superheat, again, it's a very unique shoe and really doesn't copy anything else out there on the market. The upper is probably the highlight of all the new features in that it's a brand new synthetic material. It's called Tri-Fusion Bonded Skin, and basically it's made up of 3 separate layers. You have a base layer of fused material, which is fused to the middle layer, which is a neo-web mesh. That's what they call it. You can see it's a very unique kind of mesh. It's kind of strung together in a somewhat unusual pattern, I should say, and it's designed to 1, keep the shoe very light, 2, maintain a nice flexibility to the upper, and 3 is also designed to be water resistant. So there is some exposed mesh through the through the midfoot and heel, whereas all of the upper in the forefoot and kind of first part of the shoe is completely covered with a fused material, so it's not going to allow any water in. The only area that really does concern me a little bit is this area here in the midfoot. But again, only time will tell. I don't want to criticize the shoe before having worn it myself, but like I said, Warrior is claiming that the boot is water resistant, which is really what you can expect from any shoe to a certain point. Now, as far as the other layer in the Tri-Fusion bonded skin, there's of course an outside layer of fuse, which is completely visible. The inside layer of fuse is slightly visible, but it's kind of very hard to show you guys. So basically you have a mesh layer in the middle, a fuse layer on the inside, and a fuse layer on the outside to make up the upper itself. Similar concept to what you're going to find from Nike Skin on the top-end Hypervenom Phantom, a shoe that I'm sure lots of you guys are familiar with. But in terms of its overall execution and feel in hand as well as on feet, it's completely different to Nike Skin. It's a lot thinner, doesn't have that natural padding or softness or even flexibility about it. And in terms of just first impressions on the upper itself, I have to say that it doesn't come across as particularly premium, I should say, but again, I don't want to make too many judgments on the overall performance without having worn it myself and seeing how the shoe actually does perform. Now, as far as other kind of elements of this upper that perhaps aren't as apparent, you do have the Organotouch system on the shoe itself, which is basically this yellow layer that's fused on over top. It's an extra layer of fused on material. It's very, very thin. There's almost no thickness to it whatsoever, so it's not really going to impact your feel for the ball, but it is going to add a little bit of texturing as well as a little bit of grip between your foot and the ball, which is supposed to aid in touch. Again, haven't used it, so I can't really comment on it too much. You can tell that there is a little bit of a slightly tacky feel to the upper in terms of how much grip you can expect to get on the ball. But one of the positive things that I like about this shoe is that even the tongue itself is made from the same material as the rest of the upper, so you should have a very uniform feel across the entire shoe, which is important. You have a central lacing system, as you can see, with the one cutout in the tongue itself, which is kind of a trademark thing of Warrior at this point in time. There is an internal plastic heel counter. They're calling it the membrane heel shield, and it's very, very solid and a lot larger than you might expect. So I'm a really big fan of that, and I like that they do have a very solid internal plastic heel counter that is, one, going to provide some fantastic protection against kicks to the back of the heel, as well as keep your heel securely locked inside of the shoe once you pull the laces tight. Now, as far as the heel liner itself goes, it does feature a synthetic leather heel liner with a decent amount of padding for what is supposed to be an ultra lightweight soccer shoe. You can see it's not low cut, but it's not high cut either. So in terms of soccer shoes, it should provide some decent support, even though it is a little bit more lightweight. As I mentioned, you do have a central lacing system. The insole is fully removable. I've already removed it so you guys can get a look at that. You can see it says Warrior Superheat right there. It's yellow in color. There is no mesh liner on top. It's just one solid piece of foam, which is something that I really like about the Warrior insoles. It's not particularly thick. It's definitely the thinnest insole you're going to get on any of the Warrior models, but still feels very soft. It's a much spongier foam than what you're going to find from most traditional soccer shoe insoles, and provides some really, really good step and comfort. You can also notice the cut of the insole in that it does have a slightly wider cut, especially through the midfoot. Now, moving on to the outsole itself, you're going to find the exact same outsole and stud pattern as you will find on the Warrior Gambler. Now, this is the Clawtech stud pattern, which is their firm ground stud pattern. It's fairly unusual in that you have lots of bladed studs, all in different shapes, all in different directions. That definitely seems to be something that more or less was thrown on the shoe, but actually does perform very, very well. I do have some experience with the Gambler model, and I really liked how it felt. Keeps you nice and low to the ground, and you have very good multi-directional traction. So again, the Clawtech stud pattern definitely seems to be very good, and I'm glad they implemented it on the Superheat, but at the same time, I wish they perhaps would have come out with something on their own, something else on their own, to kind of set the Superheat apart from the other Warrior models just a little bit more. There is a slight cutout here in the midfoot, really has nothing to do with performance, and there is somewhat of kind of a stiffener beam going through the midfoot as well, providing some good stiffness to the shoe when striking the ball. So that's pretty much it as far as the technical specifications of the shoe go. And move on next to a quick weigh-in so you can get a better idea as to how lightweight these guys are. As mentioned earlier, the Warrior Superheat is Warrior's first go at creating a speed boot. But to be completely honest with you guys, when you pick this shoe up for the first time, it doesn't strike you as particularly lightweight, not like shoes like the F50 Addy Zero or even the Mercurial Vapor 9 will do, but it still does feel relatively light. Just don't expect it to be ultralight in comparison to some of the bigger brands, I should say. So as far as the weight goes, I'm going to weigh this for you today in real time. Keep in mind this is a brand new pair in a size 9.5 US. We're going to throw it on the scale, and you can see that these guys weigh in at 8.3 ounces. So again, they're right at that 8 ounce mark, which is relatively light, but not nearly as light as what you can get from other lightweight soccer shoes currently available. So that's pretty much it as far as the weigh-in portion of this video goes. And move on next to a quick on feet so you can get a better idea as to how these shoes fit and what the sizing is like. Alright, here's a look at the Warrior Superheats on feet, and in terms of how these feel from right out of the box, they are relatively wearable. There really isn't too much in the way of break-in time from what I can tell so far. The upper does need some time to really become a little bit softer and more flexible, so you don't have such an awkward bend on the foot, but for the most part, they're pretty much ready to go from right out of the box. In terms of the fit on this shoe, I would classify this as a very high volume fitting shoe, in that there's a lot of space on the inside. It also has a very tall fit about it, especially in the forefoot and toe box area. So if you do have slightly chunkier or slightly taller feet, this is definitely going to be very suitable for your particular foot type. It's fairly wide all the way through. You have lots of width in the midfoot, decent width in the forefoot as well as in the toe box. So again, if you do have very wide feet pretty much all the way through, the Warrior Superheat, as well as pretty much most Warrior products, will fit you pretty comfortably. In terms of sizing, Warrior sent out a 9.5 for review, and they fit a little bit too big. So before reviewing these, I definitely want to get my hands on a size 9 US before I get to testing, and for the most part, I definitely would say that these do run true to size, as a 9.5 does feel a little bit too big on me. So again, if you are looking to order a pair of Superheats, I would definitely recommend going true to size for the best possible fit. So that's pretty much it as far as the on-feet portion of this video goes, and I'll leave you to my final thoughts. Alright guys, that's it for my unboxing of the brand new Warrior Superheat. I have to say that I'm really impressed with Warrior for putting out 3 models so soon, and 3 models that are distinctly different from each other. The Superheat definitely has some kind of interesting features about it, new technologies that I'm optimistic about for the most part. I like how it feels on feet, and I'm curious to see how this upper is going to perform in different types of weather conditions. So in terms of the full written review, guys, I'm hoping to have that up in the next month or two, depending on how long it takes me to get the right size in for myself to wear for testing. But in the meantime, if you guys want to check out the review page on my website, you will currently find the high quality images of this shoe, as well as the buy it now links if you are interested in ordering a pair for yourself. If you have any questions regarding the Superheat, feel free to leave a comment down below. If you did enjoy today's video, be sure to support it with a like. Subscribe if you haven't already for daily videos on all the latest soccer gear. You can find all of my social media information down below in the description. And other than that, guys, hope you enjoyed today's video, and as always, thanks for watching.